AQ's Blog and Grill.
Hi, welcome to AQ's Blog and Grill. This is where we have fast food for thought on branding and entrepreneurship. Our guest today is Jennifer Gough. Jennifer is an artist and an entrepreneur. You might say you're an artrepreneur.
I think that would be a good way to say it.
There we go. So let's go a little bit into the art field. Mm-hmm. I know you got started a little late in terms of dedicating your life to being an artist. So how did that all come about?
Well, I had worked in retail for about 12 years at a college. And, I just got to a point where I was thinking about, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? And I had a good job and I was making good money, but, it was just sort of that time where you start to question where you're going and, what your future is going to look like. Right. So I had always wanted to be an artist.
Really?
Yeah, always since I was a child. And, I always thought that was like an unattainable dream, It was like waking up. Okay. It was like all of a sudden I woke up and I went, oh my gosh, I'm already such and such an age. And, I better start now. Because if I don't, then, I'll be down the road and, you never know what's going to happen. So I thought this is the best time to just take the bull by the horns and run with it. And then once I had sort of in my mind a loose plan, I quit my job and I got myself a studio and I started painting, which I had never done before. So I hadn't been a painter before. I know it sounds...
This makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I know. It sounds ridiculous when you think of like, oh, you quit your job to be a painter, but you never painted. But it was almost like taking my life and flipping it completely on its head, which in the end was the best thing I could ever do. Right. Now, at the same time, I had to be realistic. And so I set myself up with a couple jobs that didn't really take away from me emotionally or mentally. And I could focus all my energy on artwork and still pay my bills and everything. Of course, you cut everything out that doesn't have to be there, like cable and, all the frilly stuff.
So you really did combine this passion for art and what it was going to allow you to grow into with entrepreneurship.
Well, I had no idea that I was an entrepreneur. Like, honestly, all I wanted to do, I was just like, I just want to make art and I want that to be my thing. And I didn't actually, at that point, I didn't care if I worked those part-time jobs for the rest of my life because I was happier doing what I wanted to do than going to a job 40 to 50 hours a week. But the good thing about retail was I learned a lot of business skills while I was there.
I mean, you have the studio, MindsEye Studio now.
Right.
And so how does that feel?
It's incredible. I get to go to work every day to my studio and I get to paint and, create these wonderful pieces of art. And, I get to make a living doing that. So I don't think I could ask for anything more, really. And as far as the whole sort of starting small and getting bigger, like I said, I really didn't have any grandiose plan for, what I would become. Right. But I think when you focus on what your passion is and you do that with 100% of your energy, you can't fail because you're putting everything you have into something you love. And it has a momentum all its own. It starts to grow and it starts to become more than you ever thought it would be. I took every opportunity. So if someone offered me an opportunity, I said yes. Like you get these little milestones. Yes. And every time you achieve one of those, you're like, geez, wow, that was really amazing that I can't believe I did that, but then it starts to build your confidence a little bit. And then you start to be like, okay, so I sort of understand how this works. It's a learning process for sure.
How does Jennifer take care of the Jennifer Gough MindsEye Studio brand?
I don't do something unless I'm going to do it 100%. So when I'm making art and I'm putting art out into the world, I'm putting it out there with me behind it. Right. So everything that I put out, I'm 100% proud of, I'm 100% satisfied with, and I make sure that my customers are 100% satisfied and proud to own a MindsEye Studio piece as well.
Right. So how do you find that you're able to leverage social media for your artistic endeavors as well as your business end of things?
Well, first of all, I didn't even have a computer. So it sort of started with people asking me for things, and then with the need, then I would add that to my repertoire. And I guess maybe it was 5 years ago, a friend of mine was like, you need to get on Twitter. So when I was clicking on people to follow, I was noticing what I was looking for in their profiles in those 3 tweets. It's like a first impression.
Right.
So I was always looking for someone who would tweet interesting things like about art, with pictures, with videos, with information, articles, anything like that. I was looking for people who would communicate back, who would be approachable.
Right.
And then I was looking for people who were positive and motivational. So I thought, you know what, those are the things I'm looking for from the people I follow. I think I'm going to make that my standard. My 3-tweet rule is always leave my account with those 3. Like, you can tweet as much as you want and do your thing, but once you walk away, I leave it at those 3 tweets so that when someone comes to my profile, they see, okay, she's an artist, clearly. A lot of motivational stuff, a lot of stuff about, you know, being positive and moving forward. And then again, answering people back. You know, if someone tweets to me, I try to answer as much as I can, like right away, and sort of keep a conversation going. So Twitter has been instrumental in quite a lot of my dealings artistically.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you sold many pieces through social media?
I have.
And how can that happen?
I don't know how that happens. You know, it's a funny thing because you don't know who's looking at your account. I mean,
Right.
you can tell, you know who follows you, but you don't know what everyone is seeing or how often they're seeing your tweet. You got to put it out there to get anything back. And it's like the whole give to receive sort of thing, you know?
Yep.
So you know that I spoke at the Art and Technology Conference
Yes.
that Avanova had in Stratford. And then the Herald, their local newspaper, took a photograph for the article he was going to write. He took pictures of the physical art that was
Right.
there, which was great for me. And of course, then when the article came out, I posted it on Facebook and I posted it on Twitter, and that's when you happened to see Steve there. And you know, so it's all kind of a process, right? Saying yes to opportunities, which was that whole speaking thing.
Yep.
You know, getting in front of people, getting it out there, and then you never know who's going to see your work. The show that I did this one for was an Apple sort of themed show.
Yes.
That started from one tweet.
Right.
It all started with Carbon
Yeah,
Computing.
Carbon computing.
They posted a tweet that said, does anyone want to make art with computer parts? I
Yeah.
said, me please. So when it came to Steve Jobs, I thought, you know, when I was looking at his portrait, I'm like, there's so much going on in his head, you know, the way that he's running his business, the way he's dealing with his people, the way he's taking these leaps. And I thought, how do I portray that through a painting?
Right.
And so I really, of course, liked the Here's to the Crazy One speech. So I decided to print out the speech,
Right.
and then tear it all up into little pieces and then put it into him, like build it right into his person.
Right.
And I like how it's in behind his eye, and,
Yeah.
and it's just very, it's subtle, but it has a lot of power.
Yeah. Now, you're on a radio show, so where do you have the time, Miss Jennifer Gough, to be on the radio with a show called Culture Soup?
CKWR,
Okay.
98.5,
98.5. Good
Canada's
one.
first community radio station.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that came from a tweet as well, because Nick Heron, you know Nick
Yes, I
Heron,
know Nick, yeah.
he tweeted out that they were looking for people because he had been interviewed on the show as
Okay.
well. And so I said, me please. And so I went on the show, and Randy and I hit it off. And then at the end of the show, he said, you know what? You need to be my co-host. And I said, you know what? Okay. I'm always like, yes, okay.
I want all the entrepreneurs in
Yeah.
our audience, the young entrepreneurs particularly, to notice what Jennifer does. She puts up her hand. And really, there's so many opportunities that the normal folk do not take advantage of
Yes.
because, well, I don't know if I should put up my hand or not. But how many bad things have happened when you...
None.
None.
I have never had a bad thing happen when I volunteered for something. And I think that's part of the reason that sets entrepreneurs apart from others who don't choose to go that route.
Right.
So, yes, me please, you know, always taking advantage of opportunities, and and I like to give opportunities back as well, especially with having the space that I have.
Yes.
It's nice for me to be able to, at least once a year, I do a multi-artist show, a group show at the studio.
You mentioned brush off. So tell me a little bit about what the brush off project was.
Well, that was an evening that the museum put on downtown, and it was 22 artists, and they had 2 opening rounds, so 11 artists in each round. And so, you could vote. All the patrons would go around and watch all the artists making their work. They had half an hour to create a piece. And again, so the brand, we come back to the brand, right? Because if you're creating in half an hour, how does the brand suffer because of that? So what I did was, all the people who bought my paintings, I contacted the museum and I said, all those people, I want to offer a free service that they can come to the gallery, and I will finish, put a hanging wire, I will varnish those pieces so that when they go out into the world, they are MindsEye Studio, Jennifer Gough representations.
Perfect.
And 3 of the 4 people took me up on it. 1 which became a client. And so again, giving at that point, giving to my clients, making sure that they're happy with the piece that they bought, came back to me in a positive way as well.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
You're very involved in the community, and you don't have a lot of extra time. So what's your motivation there?
I think that when everyone contributes whatever they can, it just puts us all forward as a whole. The thing is, if you're involved in the community, it makes your life richer. You think at first that you're like, oh, I have to give my time, I have to give this, but really, you really get back more than you give, and then you meet so many great people, and then there's more opportunities. Like, I just can't even tell you. It's like a roundabout. It's like the more you do, the more comes back.
Well, there you go.
And then we're all successful.
What does success look like for Jennifer Gough in the next couple of years? Where are you going to go?
Just getting bigger. Just sort of expanding my reach. Creating is what makes me happy. And so in becoming an artist and following my passion, I've also found my purpose. And that is really, I like to encourage and motivate other people, and I like to inspire people. I have been doing that through my art up until now, but I would like to do more public speaking. I did my Ignite talk, which was wildly popular. I really would like to speak to people about follow your dream. Like, if you have a passion, make it happen. And there's lots of ways you can do it. And my way, your way, it's always going to be different because people are different. But there's a few commonalities that you can set up to help make yourself successful.
Great. So we're going to close, and as we do, I just want to ask you, if you had 3 things that you wanted to pass on to young artists thinking about, well, I'm not getting a lot of encouragement perhaps from my family or my friends, but I know this is me. What 3 things would you say, guys, please think about these 3 things?
Well, I think that it's scary for artists when they first start out because, first of all, you're putting a piece of yourself out there, but you're starting on a journey where people are going to go, are you crazy? Well, artists don't make any money. How are you going to live? Like, they're going to ask you those questions. So you have to be strong in your resolution and say, if this is what I want, I'll do anything that I need to do to get there. And, and that's the important part. So then you have to take steps. You have to take action. And the community is a great place to start. Get involved in the Button Factory. They've always got programs or something going on. Get involved with charities. They love donations, and then usually they'll promote you as well. And then you get to go to the event and talk to people about your work while it's there. So you're making connections. Take action is the first one. The second one, I think, would be get online. Get a presence, so that even when you're not out in the community, your community can still see what you're doing.
Exactly, 24/7.
Get online, get a website or a blog, or start on Facebook, or get Twitter, do all of those things. simultaneously. And so, get yourself a presence and then make great work. Work, because you have to have a product to sell.
Right.
So, as you're taking action towards your dream and you're getting out there with the community and getting connected, then you've got a product to sell. All those things will line you up for start you on your successful path.
Wow. So today's session of AQ's Blog and Grill was with artist, entrepreneur, Jennifer Gough. Jennifer's website and some of her other connections, social media connections, will be published on the blog, and you can ask Jennifer questions, and we will forward them to Jennifer, and then hopefully she'll respond. I know she will.
Absolutely.
And so it's been great having Jennifer join us today. Thanks for dropping by.
AQ's Blog and Grill.